New on Curiosity Stream. She was a loving wife, a devoted mother. She also stole atomic secrets and gave them to the Soviets. Meet the woman whose deception kick-started the Cold War on the spy who stole the atom bomb. And
what if they catch you?
Then I shall be shot.
They're coming! Come back!
relive history's most death-defying escapes. It's Impossible Escapes, Civil War. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit curiositystream.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Hey, Ola, it's Miles. Thank you guys for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast.
Have you heard our newest podcast? It's called The Greatest Story Never Told.
Download it today on radio.com. Be sure to subscribe. New episodes are uploaded every Tuesday at noon.
Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the Men's Room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the Men's Room.
Hello, here we go. Welcome to Season 16, episode number 3416. Along with Steve the Thrill Hill, the Chad Smith, and Mike Hawk. Montgomery! And you are the Men's Room. On tap today, our 50th anniversary week continues with the return of Who Sucks Less. We will play Profile This. Plus headlines, Men's Room Shout of the Day, fun with listener emails, and everyone's favorite, TV Time with Tim.
Clack, Dirty John.
All right, here we go to Chicago, where a man who's not slacking comes up with a unique way to save his shoveled parking space. Meanwhile, Jacksonville residents want to shut down a fragrance factory that makes the area a stinky place. Man pulled over with fake license plates that reads, not stolen. Okay. When an 18-wheeler hauling human waste hits you, expect a brown and sticky spray. And someone stole the door off of an elevator in Shoreline, if you happen to see that. That is all coming on today's very special episode of The Men's Room.
And now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours. All right, a stereotype. By definition, it's an overgeneralized belief about a particular group of people. It's an expectation that people might have about every person in a particular group. Now, for example, I'm a tall black dude with tattoos. No, I don't play basketball. But yes, I do play bass. All right, 1 out of 2. Maybe your name is Karen and you're a self-entitled, I won't finish that statement. Maybe you're a surfer and you own a Volkswagen bus. Or you're a lawyer in a BMW, or maybe you're a lesbian in a Subaru. And before you get upset, we actually have the stats on that one, and just know it's part of Subaru's target audience.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they figured that out in the 90s. Now, there's all kinds of stereotypes out there, all types of people. Now, not all adult gamers live in their parents' basement, but some do. Not every person in an affliction shirt likes MMA. Not every commercial fisherman has a criminal record, and not every male Rush fan has a ponytail and tight black jeans. But you probably do. Now, that said, there's just enough people who do these things that the assumption is that everyone associated is precisely the same. Now, it could be your race. It could be your gender, your job, your hobby, your place of birth, Miles. Everything has a stereotype. Now, today, we don't want to know how you've broken down barriers and defied expectations. No, today, we want to know how you were exactly what people expected. You played directly into the stereotype for good or bad. Today's question is this. What's the story that proves that you're just like the stereotype?
Be part of the Big Show. Call 206-421-ROCK. Like the Men's Room on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Men's Room Live. And send those emails to the Men's Room at KISW.com.
New on Curiosity Stream.
Just because it hasn't been done before doesn't mean you can't.
Watch Earth's greatest minds forge our path to a better tomorrow. It's engineering the future. And Jaws, Star Wars, The Godfather, E.T. The biggest movies have even bigger music. From King Kong to The Dark Knight. See how musicians scored Hollywood's greatest hits on great film composers' music of the movies. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit curiositystream.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Hey, all of it, Jolas, thank you so much for listening to the Men's Room podcast.
And thanks to our pals at the Advocates Law Firm for being great partners. Yes, even you, creepy Kyle.
Seriously, though, if you'd been injured as a result of somebody else in your car, on your bike, walking across the street, talk to our friends at the Advocates Law Firm and let them help you out.
Yeah, they're the best injury lawyers around, and they want to make sure that you're not taken advantage of. Plus, your first consultation is free.
It's simple. You get injured, the advocates get results. Contact them today at advocateslaw.com.
The debauchery rolls on. You're listening to The Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
Oh, Jolas, and away we go. Welcome to Season 16, Episode number 3416. What a large and in charge program we have for you today. Guaranteed future EP. Once again, Steve, Who Sucks Less is back.
Yeah.
You bring us 3 stories in the news every week. It's up to us to determine out of the 3 stories which one sucks the least.
Yes, indeed.
Is this going to be a vicious one today or something we can tolerate?
I think we can tolerate it because none of us have been in, nor do I believe we will be in this position, but there's definitely a common thread. I think the only person who would really care about these stories today would be our very own Mike Hawk. I don't think you're in danger, but I know it's crossed his mind.
Yeah.
He read these stories and just said, man, hopefully not me. We'll find out.
Okay. Who sucks less on the way? And today on our question, we're going to talk about stereotypes that you kind of fall into one way or another. Sometimes, as far as stereotypes, you don't even realize.
Well, you don't even in the setup. I brought up the average Rush fan, and it's just kind of a joke. But you say like wearing the tight black jeans, hair tied back in a ponytail. Comment comes in that says, "Thrill, I think you just slammed Brad. He's a big Rush fan. He wears black jeans and ties his hair in a ponytail."
Then yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's over.
Look, if you've gone to a Rush show, I'm a fan of Rush.
I like Rush, too.
I was the only one there that didn't have a Rush T-shirt.
I was going to say, that is, when you go to a Rush concert, apparently it is legally required that you also wear a shirt of the band Rush. Most concerts, they say, man, don't wear the shirt of the band you're going to see. I don't know why. I don't care. Right? But with Rush, it seems to be the exact opposite. You must wear a Rush T-shirt, and you must say your favorite album is 2112. Furthermore, you must say Moving Pictures was a sellout.
Sure.
Failure to do these things, you're not a real Rush fan.
And Neil Peart's the greatest drummer of all time.
Ever. Period.
Yeah. Well, you talk about Canada, all right?
All right.
So you just in general.
Denim tuxedo, mullets.
Right. And the fact that Canadians are so nice and so friendly. There have been numerous stories where somebody wakes up and there's a guy passed out on his couch. Now, if this happens in Illinois, that guy's going to jail.
Or he got his ass
arrested.
beat.
He got his ass beat. You know what I mean? They're waiting for the cops to show up. In Canada, they ask the guy his name, where he was going. Is he okay? Does he need breakfast? Where do you live?
Do you need breakfast?
Can I take you home? I mean, there's just a difference in the way that Canadians are as far like the most Canadian crime ever, something like that. Or I can't remember what the one was a couple weeks ago, but it was absolutely exactly what you would expect. Like a woman taking her kids to hockey practice, her minivan breaks down, and then, like the kids are straying on the side of the road, and so they end up going to somebody picks them up and takes them to Tim Hortons. Now, I'm exaggerating, but it was one of those things where I was like, this is the most Canadian thing ever. Typically involves the outdoors. Typically involves, somebody doing something very Canadian. Guy was out a couple days ago, and he was up near Golden, where my car blew up with a tire and all that stuff, and there was a massive avalanche, right? So this guy watches this avalanche. He's like, ooh, wow, look at that, right? sees this elk get swept away in the avalanche. So what's this guy do?
Come on.
He grabs his little shovel. He heads on up the mountain, and he digs out the damn elk or the moose or whatever it was.
Really?
Yes. He freed the elk and the moose. And then the moose and him stood there and looked at each other for a couple minutes, and then he walked back to his car and drove away.
Guess that's what you do.
I mean, that is as Canadian as it gets.
Yeah. Mainly because it's a moose.
Exactly. I mean, like,
look, this is just it. Coast Guard rescues skier after he was mauled by a bear in Anchorage, Alaska. Mm-hmm. So not only is he skiing, but he's also mauled by a bear.
Of course.
And it doesn't get any more Alaskan than that. As a matter of fact, our own Sergeant Hair Club, he let us know he had a buddy who, like, lives in the middle of Alaska, and he is an eye surgeon.
Right.
Or an eye doctor. One of the reasons that he lives there, maybe he likes Alaska, but there's so many bear attacks that people get their eyes messed up.
Right. He does good business there specifically because more people there
Fishing
get
hooks.
their eyes ripped out of their head, right? Just based on how you have to live in Alaska. That this guy who's a doctor is like, you know what? I'm opening shop there, and this dude makes bank. Mm-hmm. I mean, other than Reno, Nevada, there's probably not a lot of places where there's one-eyed people. But it's like in Alaska, you can count on it, man.
Right, exactly.
By the way, Miles, someone says, hey, my Canadian neighbor's a raging bitch. Explain that one, fellas. It's simple. She lives here now. Yeah. You're not in Canada. I mean, you need to adjust, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're in another country. You need to adjust to the way people do things there.
Mm-hmm. Give her
we will shoot you over a parking spot in this country. So it makes sense that once you cross south of the Canadian border, you need to be a little meaner.
Mm-hmm. I will say my stereotype about Canadians living in Seattle is I feel like every time I went to a Mariners game before marijuana was like legal and you just go to shops, like, you might smoke some weed with a Canadian, and they're always real fired up. Then they ask you for cocaine.
I know, right? Because that's the
they're always a nice
stereotype.
couple, though.
Oh yeah,
or it's like four dudes on like a bachelor party or something. But I was just always like, nah,
it's not what I do.
Yeah, but think about it, right? If you come to the U.S. from another country, based on the things you're going to hear, you're going to get whiskey, specifically Jack Daniel. I mean, we are known around the world for that. I did not realize that until I traveled. I'm like, oh, my God. The only thing they ask about is freaking Jack Daniels and cocaine, all right? But, Ted, you and I get off the plane. We're in Ibiza, Spain. What drugs are we asking for?
Hash?
Right. Man, everybody. I mean, everybody. Well, that's not true. Our belief is that if you go to Ibiza, everybody there.
My bad. Ibiza. Well, yeah, we're
Ibiza.
taking like ecstasy and
Dude,
stuff.
Okay. Any party
it's like the biggest party capital of the world for DJs.
But you know, some guys are like, dude, I don't do drugs. Mm-hmm. I'm actually here for the beach. You know, Jesus Christ.
Dude, I read an article with a guy that works doors there, and he was like, man, these two guys came in so high once, but they were buck naked.
Oh, shit.
Like, they were so nice, but we just had to kindly tell them, like, it's noon, you're naked, you need to go home.
Noon?
Sure.
Oh, yeah, that's a 25. I mean, you think Vegas parties, Ibiza is...
I need to go. And before I die, man, Ibiza is definitely... And again, it's just based on the stereotype of what I understand to happen there. And all of it plays into what I like.
But you assume everybody in Amsterdam does drugs. Now, obviously, they don't all smoke weed or whatever. But for years, that was like the only legal place to get marijuana.
Every guy in Australia, right? He's tough as hell. He doesn't know it, but he can beat your ass and wants to.
Yeah.
Actually, on that note, when I lived in New Orleans, there was a guy, he was from Australia, and he was dating this other chick I knew. And we went to her place for dinners, like 8 of us, but we're waiting for him to get home was the idea. No big deal. Everyone's just drinking. Dude shows up. He's about 5'4", so he's like AC/DC size, right? Australian guy, through and through. He shows up at the door. This is his home. And when he opens the door, like, he's covered in blood. But he's smiling. All right, so we're all like, what the hell happened? So he was driving home. He worked construction. He is driving home. The cops pulled him over for whatever the reason was they pulled him over. That part I don't remember. So as he's explaining the story to us, and this was as Australian of a thing as I've ever heard, and he was oblivious to this. He said, well, they pulled me over and the cop asked me to step out of the vehicle. We're like, okay. So he's like, that's when I cold cocked him, beat his ass, took his gun, his badge, his handcuffs, and his hat. We're like, what? He's still smiling. We're like, why did you do that? He said, because he said step out of the vehicle. I'm like, so why did you attack him and take his ass? And he said, well, in Australia, at least the part he was from, you know, cops pull you over, maybe you get a ticket or whatever, or you're just under arrest. But if they say step out of the vehicle, the idea is we're going to score. We're just going to fight. All right,
get it over with.
This is off the record, but this is now personal between the cop and whoever the perp is, right? And we're just going to duke it out, and whoever wins, wins, and we go on our way. And we all looked at each other like, bro, Danny was his name. I'm like, Danny, that is not how S works in the United States at all, like at all. And he's like, okay, that explains it, because he acted like he didn't know I was coming for him. Really, he didn't. He said, you jumped out and attacked this dude. So apparently, again, where he is from in Australia, if you beat the cop, you take the gun, the badge, the handcuffs, and the hat. If the cop beats you, they take whatever from you they're going to take. It's kind of like your trophy. Mm-hmm. We're like, dude, you need to not go outside for a long, long time. The only thing that works in your favor is because this cop is not going to go back and say the 5'4" dude got out of the car, beat my ass, and took my stuff. You're going to say it was 9 guys. So you got that working in your favor, but I'm like, you should not go out in public for a while. Right. Like the rules are different. But I mean, he was like, well, how bad is it? We're like, it's really, 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 really bad. Like if that cop sees you again, he's going to shoot you bad.
Yeah.
He didn't know.
Yeah.
And we're like, how goddamn Australian are you? You don't just get out of your car. Jesus, man.
And the crazy thing is, that's a long way away. That's thousands, tens of thousands of miles away.
Still.
On the East Coast, all right, where everything is very heavily populated, and Baltimore and D.C. are not far apart, and neither is Philadelphia and New York and all that stuff. You know when someone is from New Jersey. Even though it's only an hour and a half to 2 hour drive, you know the difference. And even when people from Jersey call this show, if you're a listener to this program, you know there's just a difference. It's immediate. It's not even needed to be spoken. You just know right away what part of Jersey you're from. Oh, outside of Philly.
They're also kind of like Californians.
Because they let you know.
They are anxious to tell.
Right. New Jersey is the East Coast version. If they are from New Jersey, they will let you know they're from New Jersey, at least in the first sentence.
I've got a theory on cowboy boots. All right. This might seem like a weird theory, all right? But in the places that I've traveled and been around in my lifetime, if you go to Texas, for the most part, there's a lot of cowboy boots down there.
Sure.
Which is unusual because it's typically very hot and, humid at 90 degrees. However, in Texas, for the most part, and not that there aren't cowboys out there doing their thing, but cowboy boots are worn for style. So is a cowboy hat. You've got a white brim hat. You're going to go out on the town.
Yeah.
You're wearing this for fashion. It's not really practical. However, if you go to, say,
Oklahoma,
or you go to Reno, Nevada, where there are a lot of horses.
It's an actual cowboy walking.
This guy's wearing the boots because he is a cowboy. If you're in Wyoming and you see a guy with a cowboy hat on and boots, like the Wyoming Cowboys, which is what the university is called, that's where you wear boots. And the other state is Colorado. So in my mind, if you see someone who's got cowboy boots on, they're probably from one of 4 places.
Well, it depends. If they're dirty, I know you're probably not from Texas.
Exactly.
You might be in Dallas, you might be in Nashville, but your boots are clean.
Right.
Like they wear crisp cowboy stuff.
And then there's obviously the rock and roller guys who wear the boots and walk around like Stephen Piercy or whatever.
Right, that does not count.
No, it doesn't.
That does not count.
But the fact that you wear cowboy boots basically dictates kind of where you're from and explains who you are.
Definitely explains who you are if you're not from a place where cowboy boots are practiced.
Right. And I don't know anyone who's a cowboy. I've never met a cowboy.
I met one, and he was a guy that owned the donkey pokey. My favorite animal that I've ever met.
And did he wear cowboy boots?
Yes.
Exactly.
But this dude, like, he did tours in, like, Montana or something.
Right.
Like, for 8 months out of the year, he's on horseback. Mm-hmm. He would guide people to do whatever the hell it is you do in Montana, and he was... But that was his gift. He owned a donkey, for F's sake.
Growing up in West Virginia, you did not see people walking around in cowboy boots. Because for the most part, if you wear boots in the winter, you need traction.
Right.
It's going to be snowy. It's going to be icy. Before Timberlands got real big and popular, most people had that type of work boot on. Like just a real big industrial boot.
A work boot.
A work boot.
Because you work.
But there were no cowboy boots. So you'd see someone in cowboy boots, you're just like, dude, cowboy boots.
Going out tonight?
Exactly. And that was
Put it this way. My mom owns cowboy boots. My mom's as far from a cowboy as you could possibly be.
Well, that's a fashion thing for women who have the half cowboy boots.
That is what I'm saying. But then again, you go to Oklahoma, you see a chick in cowboy boots, like, I ride horses.
Okay.
Like, understood.
I have a buddy that lives in Texas. He says you see people on construction sites wearing them.
Dude, I mean, absolutely. Cowboy hats and cowboy boots.
The farther north you go, like I have friends now in Maryland that wear them. They never ridden a horse in their damn lives.
You ever land at the Dallas airport?
I have.
It looks like you are on the set of a Western.
It does.
Right? I mean, on every freaking person in there, but you talk to them and it's like they have the most white-collar jobs. Like, actually, I'm an attorney for... Like, wow, okay, because you look like the Marlboro Man.
Dude, I've been a part of California, like way up north, like almost getting
Spooky
down.
part, yeah.
But yeah, by the Nevada border.
Yep.
I can't remember the name of the town, but we were in there, and those dudes were wearing spurs.
Right, that's next
Same
level.
with Reno. Because of all the horses down there.
Yeah.
That's why Dennis had that interest in it. Because there were horses tied up outside of casinos where people
Yeah.
rode their horse.
Right, that is their vehicle.
To the casino. Yes, that's how they got there. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, you could walk up to a horse. I mean, I didn't get real close, but I was just like, this guy's just tied up out here. It's 80 degrees. He's out there.
Sure.
He's just wagging his tail back and forth, and owners inside gambling. Like where somebody left their dog in their car.
No, wait.
They'd freak the hell out.
All right, so I go somewhere and I ride a horse, all right? I don't have a car. I've got a horse. And I tie my horse up. And I'm just curious to know, do I still have to pay for parking, right? So if I tie my horse up.
This is an old place meant to tie up horses.
No, I know, but they haven't updated where I just figured they'd still put a meter like, hey, bro, your horse has been out there for 2 hours. They put a chalk mark on your horse's butt. You better go out there and feed the meter.
Right. Well,
right? Because it's a vehicle. I mean, inevitably, and it's taking up a space. So I just feel like, in theory, even if I tie my horse here, it's still whatever it costs to park.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
your vehicle says a lot about you. I mean, if you had a Ford 350, you know what I mean? One of those big ass trucks. They are jacked up.
You don't live downtown is my first guess.
Right. I asked for an Uber. I asked for an Uber. And now Bobby's going to pick me up in his truck. Mm-hmm. Something seems off.
Right. Okay? That's how.
If Bobby's coming in a 350 Ford, I'm like, what is going on here, right? Now, on the flip side, I told Mike, if I hire someone to do some contracting work or come over and do some handiwork, and he shows up in a Prius, I might not trust this guy.
So to me, stereotypes matter with numbers on cars.
Numbers on cars.
Correct. Like Miles is saying. So Mike Hawk grew up in Enumclaw.
Right.
Right? It's like he's saying, you see an F-350 in the city, I know the guy doesn't live in the city.
Right.
If I'm outside and I see a 6 or 7 in front of your BMW, I know you're not from this town. You're from the city. You're both out of place.
Yes, exactly.
So I'm saying numbers on cars matter.
Right. No,
if you have an even number on your Mercedes, I know you're making bank. The odd number, it's a status symbol. You got the even number, like you legitimately like this ride, and you got the dough for it.
And I can look into your grocery cart and do the same thing.
Oh, God, yeah.
I'm sorry, man. I can. I can see who you are a mile away.
Do you have party pizzas or do you have couscous? Because I know whose house I'd rather go.
Oh, dude,
over.
the person who puts the vegetables just in the cart, and that's all they have. But they're not in bags. They just put the vegetables in the cart.
My veggies always go in the little bags.
Is it unfair that I already don't like them? You can't help but it's like all you're buying is vegetables. It's a whole goddamn grocery store.
But I'm looking down, you're right. I got party pizzas. I've just got all the
bag
stuff.
Of chips.
Yeah, I mean,
there might be a couple. There's some bag salads in there.
Right.
Like you order probably. I try to go half of it's like, all right, he's trying. The other half is like, it's going to get away from him this weekend.
It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy to look down at someone's cart and say, hey, man, I can tell this guy smokes a lot of weed.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, that's basically what it is. I can tell at the grocery store.
But he's health conscious because it's dark chocolate.
Yeah. And you always make a comment like, ooh, Eskimo pie is good call.
I talk to way too many people.
You talk to every goddamn body in the grocery store. Hey, what you got there? It's an orange.
I love, what kind of orange? Is it on sale?
I don't think I've had those. What is the story that proves that you are just like your stereotype? 206-421-ROCK.
New on Curiosity Stream, she was a loving wife, a devoted mother. She also stole atomic secrets and gave them to the Soviets. Meet the woman whose deception kick-started the Cold War on the spy who stole the atom bomb. And
what if they catch you?
Then I shall be shot.
They're coming! Come back!
relive history's most death-defying escapes. It's Impossible Escapes, Civil War. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit curiositystream.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Oh, fiddlesticks! What, Wilbur? We just got hit and I think my back is all been out of shape.
You gotta talk with those whippersnappers at the Advocates Law Firm. They're the best injury lawyers around.
What? Pipe down, Clarence! Abner's telling me about the lawyers and the advocates. So what happened to you, Abner?
I was walking across the street with the light when some young punk came screeching around the corner. I lost a toe.
What? Shut it, Clarence! If you get injured, the advocates get results.
AdvocatesLaw.com.
You're in the men's room. 99.9 KISW and KISW HD1 Seattle.
50 years of KISW, the 50th anniversary week. We'll get the party started on Friday. How the street is, we're going to be hearing for a lot of people. So is Ryan and BJ and Miggs. From what we understand, Chris Novoselic will be calling in the program, Rain Wilson.
Oh, nice.
Maybe get a hold of him through Zoom. I know for a fact that Ryan Castle is going to talk to the one and only Sammy Hagar. Now, back in the day, Sammy was a part of KISW's, I believe it was Rising Stars concert series.
Yes.
Okay? But you could see
how long ago was that?
It was a while ago, to the point where it's like $5.
Right.
Like, you know, whatever it is, it's like, geez, a whiz. And it's Sammy Hagar, you know? So he's going to call in and talk to Ryan about some of his memories with the radio station. Not only that, we do have a little memory with Sammy Hagar. Do you remember this?
Was he here or did he call in?
He called in because
we had
Chad Smith
and Joe Satriani were here.
Right? Yeah, Mini-Me.
Chad Smith is a drummer for the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Joe Satriani is a guitar virtuoso. The bassist in the band is Michael Anthony from Van Halen. He was not in studio with us. And Sammy Hagar, and they make up the band Chickenfoot.
Yeah.
So we had half of Chickenfoot in studio. Joe Satriani, who looks like Mini-Me.
He really does.
And then we have Chad Smith, who looks like Will Ferrell.
Correct.
So, and these guys are fun. We're having a great time. We're busting each other's bees. We're doing all this stuff. Why didn't Sammy show up? Where the hell's Michael Anthony?
Right.
Oh, those guys are punks, all that stuff. So Sammy calls the studio, and he gets on the phone. He just starts reaming us out.
Why are you talking this on me, man?
Yeah, exactly. Because you didn't show up. You're supposed to be here.
Yeah, it seemed like he was kind of like...
He was a little salty with us.
Yeah, I was going to use a different term, but like that he wasn't on the radio and the other guys were. It's like, well, they showed up.
Right.
All you had to do was show up, man.
Exactly. You were staying in a hotel, like, honestly, a block away.
Yeah.
You could have walked up the street. Either way.
I was going to say, Chad Smith's awesome, too.
He is cool. He is a cool guy, man.
But, our 50th anniversary week will kick off the entire year-long celebration for you on Friday. Be sure to tune in. A lot of surprises, a lot of memories, a lot of stories. It's going to be a good time. All right, a question. What is the story, by the way, that proves that you are just like your stereotype? 206-421-ROCK.
By the way, the Rush fans are still checking in.
Oh, my God.
Jesus Christ.
What?
Look at that.
What? Oh, we lost all our calls.
All of them.
Oh, God.
If you were on hold, please call back.
Okay.
What'd you do?
I don't want to do this again. When we first moved to these studios, this happened, twice a week?
Right.
You'd have a banker call, and they just drop. As soon as I glance at the call screening caller screen, they all, at once, just drop. But the Rush fans are checking in. Someone points out, based on what we said the stereotypes were, and the guy wanted to be very clear, 2112 is the best album. Neil Peart is a drumming god. But no, I do not wear Rush T-shirts to the concert, so they never did it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So yeah. Well, by the way, Ted, I don't know if I shared this with you. The inspiration for our question today?
Yeah.
This is a pretty interesting article, and a guy just had a hypothetical. He said, if you're anything like me, you probably wondered, what do white people actually do for fun? We know some of those things, all right? But he said...
Well, you're white. You should know.
He starts digging around. We make the jokes all the time. But lucky for us, it seems our tax dollars have been hard at work to help us answer the exact question.
Our tax dollars, huh?
Correct. Without us even knowing it.
Well,
that'd be a hard sell. We're going to stimulus check, we're going to work on the vaccine, and we are spending money to find out what do white people like.
The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission apparently collects data on emergency room visits involving all consumer products.
Oh, all right.
So, and if we make the very believable assumption that all races seem to hurt themselves at the exact same rate, doing the exact same activities, then we can use this data to tell us exactly what it is that white people do on the weekends. Especially if they're going to get injured, right?
All right.
This
also you guys are telling me the truth. I believe Miles because he plays golf all the time.
Yeah. Our
ski, snowboard, Burning Man
is likely to go to the hospital for a given injury. So they use this National Electronic Injury Surveillance System, which actually, now he says, to show the list of activities, he started out where only at least 9 in 10 people were reported who were injured were to be white. Okay? So 9 in 10. That meets the criteria. So in other words...
90%. Jesus.
To put that number in context, 89.1% of the people who were injured playing golf were white. 89.2% of horseback riding injuries turned out to be white people. So every activity on this list is both whiter than golf and whiter than the infamous horse girl you went to school with. So please feel free to call this article Whiter Than Golf or Whiter Than Horse Girls, if you wish.
All right.
So he puts together this Whiter Than Golf index of the things that white people do.
Do you have some white people music?
I do not think we have any.
How
white
do
You got some white people music in there.
Oh, man, I don't know if I have white people music. I can tell you some of the things that white people do as far as the percentage.
You doing Andy Griffith?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. You know what? I might have that one.
I was like, I can think of some white people stuff.
Yeah, I got to start digging here. Let me see.
I got friends in no place. The whiskey dry.
I'll be there for you. So as far as the number one injury that involves white people
Just the
getting
good
injured,
old boys. All right.
number one at 100% is skeet shooting. Skeet shooting comes in as the number one white activity. 100%.
Have you guys ever been skeet shooting?
You know, I have not.
I absolutely have.
I've shot skeet.
Pull, I got your clay pigeons.
I mean, just like a dude chucking them,
oh
but
man,
it counts.
we had a lever where you pulled it back and it cranked in and you just
Yeah.
hit the button. Snowmobiling is number two.
Ding.
98.3% of injuries occurring to white people are on snowmobiles, followed by roller hockey.
I never played. I was a goalie, but I wasn't on roller blades.
Okay.
Getting injured from the use of tree stands for the use of hunting.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
That comes in at 96.3%. Utility vehicles, power routers, garden tractors, log splitters at 95% white.
That's a big one.
You got a log splitter, 95% chance you're white. All right? Water skiing at 95%.
Oh, God, come on, water.
Getting injured with a coal or wood-burning stove.
I have.
Comes in at 93.6%.
I love those
Did you grow
things.
up with a coal or wood-burning stove, Mike? I did. Had to clean it out all the time.
Terrence got two. One in our house, one in our shop.
93.4% people injured in archery were white.
All right.
Using chisels or planes and injuring yourself. White. Tractors, white. Ice hockey, snow skiing, all-terrain vehicles, workshop furnishings, saber saws, riding power lawnmowers, snow blowers, hatchets or axes.
I love snowblowers.
Hockey, pull down or folding chairs. 92% of the injuries from folding, yes, or pull down chairs.
What was everybody else sitting on?
I don't know.
We're just not injuring ourselves, Ted.
Does that just mean we're fatter?
Paper cutters, 91%. Power leaf mulchers and grinders, 91% white. Portable gas or little heaters, 91% white. Water tubing, 91% white.
Oh, yeah. That we call river rafting. Or no, floating the river.
People injured by vices or clamps in a workshop, 90%. Injury by baton falling on your head, 90% white.
Learn
That's
to
the
catch
girl,
it.
So
that's
you
the
get an
girl that
idea.
couldn't be a cheerleader. I will say, now, granted, I grew up in PG County, which is a predominantly black county.
Yeah.
But the University of Maryland, they had one black baton dude for years. And, like, it felt like my whole childhood. Like, he couldn't have been in school anymore. And I don't know if it was just like, we got a black dude doing this, we got to keep him around.
We got him from Grambling.
But he was,
He will never drop that baton.
right? I mean, he was there for years. That sounds so
Right.
bad, but it's the truth.
Hey.
Like, as a kid going to games, it's like, is he going to be there? My dad, like, he'll
He's
be
the
there.
guy,
I
right?
told you the story about the three swimmers in a bar one night, right? I'm in there with my buddy Warren. Warren is a large man, 6'4", 270 pounds. He is a machine. He's a big dude. He starts lipping off with these other guys over there, and they're in the swimming team or whatever, right? And Warren's just jabbing and jabbing. They're jabbing back. This one guy squares up with Warren and knocks him out with one punch. I mean, just absolutely crushes him. His buddies jump on me and beat the living hell out of him. All right?
Did you have anything to do with this, or are you just
No,
friends?
I'm just there with him. All right? But we both play football, so we both get our ass beat by these swimmers, okay? So, long story short, about 2 weeks go by. We go back to the bar DJs, and the bartender says, hey, he said, just gave the play-by-play about what happened after Warren woke up, because I was kind of preoccupied getting kicked in the head. He gives us the whole run.
Preoccupied.
So he's like, look, man, they were the instigators in this. We're going to give you guys the beers and stuff like that. He's like, and we did talk to those guys. They are allowed to come back in here, so you know. The one guy is not allowed to come back here anymore after what he did last weekend, because they gave him another warning and gave him another chance.
Jesus.
Okay, so those guys are back in that bar again. They start lipping off to another group of dudes. These guys are male cheerleaders. Guess what happens this time?
Guess the cheerleaders beat their ass.
Cheerleaders absolutely killed them. I mean, absolutely ruined those guys, which means in a different scenario, there was a chance where we could have gotten our ass beat worse by cheerleaders.
Aren't you glad it was swimmers?
Than by the guys in the swim team.
Because you just want to say it out loud.
These cheerleaders were jacked. And when I say jacked, I mean, you got to remember, they're throwing people over their heads.
Yeah.
They're picking people up every day. I mean, they're working on their core. These guys were huge dudes, you know what I mean?
I would have put my high school cheer team against them. Now, it was all chicks, but they were built about the same. I'm telling you, man, I remember the first time. So I went to a bunch of different high schools, but my final high school, I just remember they had the football game, and the cheerleaders run on the field. And I mean, I was like, come on, man. I mean, I'm really trying to be nice about this.
Did they run or trot?
They trotted, man. It was, and I don't care who you were, if you saw them.
Honest
it was
to God,
just bad.
Were you bitter at your parents for moving you to Baltimore?
For a while I was. One of my first experiences in Baltimore, and there are more women per capita with a neck beard, I would argue this, than anywhere in the United States. But we've been there for like 3 or 4 days, and I took a bus downtown. I don't know Baltimore very well, so as I know the number of the bus I need to catch, I just want to find the right bus stop. So I walk up to this woman who had a neck beard, and I asked her, hey, is this the right bus stop for the number 3 bus? And she was very nice. I want to put this out. She was very nice. But before she answered my question, she put a finger over one nostril, shot out a snot rocket onto the street. Then put a finger over the other nostril, shot out another snot rocket, then turned around and said, yeah, baby, this is the one. And for me, at this moment, this was culture shock.
You start getting a chub?
I was like, where are we, dude? And the thing is, you could see the 2 shiny dots where she'd blown them out on the sidewalk. Like, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just say, well, like, I don't know, just coming from Rochester, that's not typically... That's not what you do before you answer someone's question. You know what I mean? It's just, I was blown away. But I remember going home and saying to my mom, people here are weird.
What is the story that proves that you are just like your stereotype? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Jake. Welcome to the men's room.
Jake, are you there?
He's almost there.
Hola!
Hey, so I lived up to the stereotype that white men can't jump.
Uh-oh. How did you discover this?
I figured it out the hard way. I played basketball growing up year-round pretty much, played on a couple of select AAU teams, and we travel all over the country and play in these tournaments. Well, my senior year of high school, I played on this team. We were pretty good. We were ranked nationally, and we were playing in this tournament down in California. Now, 8 of the 10 guys on the team could throw down windmill dunks in warm-ups. I'm obviously one of those guys that could not. Well, I hit a couple of 3-pointers in the first half against this nationally ranked team, and so I was feeling pretty good about myself. And a couple of minutes into the game, my buddy steals the ball, throws it head to me on a fast break, and I'm like, you know what? My time to shine right now. So I go up for the lay-in. Well, what I should have done a lay-in, I'm like, no, I'm going to throw this down. So I cock it back, and I'm going to dunk. In my mind, I'm like 3 feet above the rim. This is going to be awesome. The place is going to go crazy. Well, I come up short and I hit the front of the rim. And when you're running full speed and you come up short on the dunk and you hit the front of the rim. Oh, yeah. Just like getting clotheslined. And I landed flat on my back and it knocked the wind out of me. And I thought I was dead.
You got to remember, man.
And I couldn't breathe. It was absolutely horrible.
Did you tell
the whole gym just went crazy.
You tell your teammate, like, hey, man, in the future, no fast breaks with me.
Had you ever successfully dunked a basketball before?
One time, and I don't think it was a regulation 10-foot hoop. I'll be honest.
So this was the wrong time to try this. Also, your job is to just pass the ball to other players. You're the assist guy.
No, I'm the shooter.
That's
the
the
guy
stereotype.
that they tell stand at the 3-point line and shoot the ball.
Okay, all right.
That's what they tell the white kids on the team. Mm-hmm. Black guys are like, hog the ball and
white guy
dunk.
who would shoot the ball.
Yeah, that's what they told me to do. Just stand over there and shoot. Don't do anything else because you suck at everything else.
I played 1 year of basketball. And I played for my grade school.
All right.
So the grade school I went to was next door in Beltsville. So the school was mainly white. I didn't even sign up for basketball. My mom did it unbeknownst to me.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Mom.
So we're playing St. Anthony's from Northeast. Their team mostly black. I am nervous, all right? So we're shooting foul shots, and I'm back at half court just standing there. I have no idea how the game really works, yada, yada, yada. And the guy goes, you checking me? I go, no, we're in a zone. And he leans over to the bench and goes, hey, the white boy just said he in a zone.
How horrible was that, man?
It was awful. Because he's laughing. He's like, yeah, I asked him if he was checking me. He goes, no, he's in a zone.
What's a story that proves you're just like your stereotype? 206-421-ROCK.
I bet that's the funniest thing that Ben's heard all day.
Oh, my, they loved it.
Hello, Andy. Welcome to the men's room.
Raw dog your tuna, gentlemen.
All right, Andy, we're going to let that comment go. I should have said it.
Hey, I do it too. It's all good. So I fall into the stereotypical bro, likes to party and all that kind of stuff. So this story involves the 4 B's of being a bro, which are boobs, beers, bikes, and barbecue. So
I didn't know there were 4 B's in the brohood. Now we know.
I did not know that either.
There you go.
No White Claw, though.
Having a good time.
Okay.
No White Claw. But so my buddy has an old place out in Monroe on the river. A couple years ago, we were doing 4th of July. And I am on a motorcycle, and picture this, in an American flag banana hammock, and an American flag cowboy hat, and American flag boots with a silver bullet in my hand and a cigarette. And I'm flying down the beach, and, well, 2 girls walk by, and what do men do when they see dudes or girls in bikinis? They stare at boobs. And I got distracted, and the bike flew out from underneath me, and I face plant on the river rock, splitting my knee wide open, having to walk back to the grill. My buddy pours vodka on it, wraps in a T-shirt. I received barbecue for the rest of the night.
That's about as white as it gets.
That is a bro story.
I tell you what, anything that involves a river, you know, like as soon as you go, like, we're going to the river,
true.
It's white. I don't know what you're doing, if you're fishing, if you're tubing, if you're floating.
Dude, I'm a bit of a bro. Me and my buddies have the 4 B's, too. But it's like barbecue, beer, boobs, and blondes.
No brunettes? I'll take the brunettes.
It's not 5
We're
B's.
grilling outside.
All right. Okay.
Come on, Miles.
She stays in the house for the wintertime.
Brunette does.
The brunette is winter entertainment.
The blonde comes out.
Yeah.
What is the story that proves that you are just like your stereotype? 206-421-ROCK.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
$20 million, $19 million, $6 million. These are all awards recovered for clients of Phillips Law Firm. To win big, you have to fight big. And Phillips Law has been fighting the too-big-to-fail insurance industry for decades. Not every case will have a multi-million-dollar outcome, but Phillips Law will fight just as hard to recover the outcome you deserve. If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or on the job, call or click today at 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.